to
I
the
know.
names.
I think I've met you once, so it's always great
Yeah,
to see the payment center faces. I'm like,
yeah,
oh, I do know her.
yeah.
Okay, so we're live. Okay, so you're tuning in to our YouTube Live Admitted Students Day for Financial Aid and Payment Center Q&A at the University of Pittsburgh. We're going to begin in a few minutes. We just want to give some more people time to come on in.
So do you want, I'll go first actually to introduce myself while we're waiting for people to come in. I'm Sarah Drudy DeNardis. I'm one of the specialists at the Student Payment Center located at G9 Thackeray Hall. Our office it works closely with student financial accounts in Pitt Pay. So Pitt Pay is a portal that you can use for students and authorized users, and we can go into that in much more detail later. But our office works with that, and I'm here to actually answer some of the questions about financial responsibilities and payment options beyond the financial aid portion and the FAFSA information that, say, Trish would do.
And my name is Trish McCarthy. I'm a financial aid counselor here at the University of Pittsburgh. I work with loans, grants, scholarships, and work study. That is what comprises financial aid. We also work closely with the payment center with their payment plans. So they have taught us enough for us to be familiar with that, but I will obviously be deferring all of those questions to Sarah.
Okay, and my name is Hannah Mcbain. I'm also a financial aid counselor here at the university, and I'm also a mom of two students who I have one who currently attends Pitt and one who is an incoming freshman, like many of you all. And we're going to just use this platform to answer as many questions as we possibly can for you. Any questions that we aren't able to get to, we'll make sure you have our contact information so that you can ask us those questions, either call us or send an email. So just a few housekeeping. Just first, I just want to say congratulations for being admitted to the University of Pittsburgh. We are so thrilled to chat with you today. Any students who have been admitted by now, you should have received an email notification with your financial aid offer letter. Those who may have received a notification in January or February may have also received a hard copy letter. If you have not received any notification from us, please call our office. We'll be more than happy to help you navigate that. Our telephone number is 412-624-7488. And you also can email us at finaid@pitt.edu. And before we begin, if you have any important personal questions, also reach out to us. We would like to protect your privacy, so don't expose those questions to this platform, but call us and we'll be more than happy to help you. Okay, so our first question is how to get money and work study. So these are both financial aid questions, so we'll just let Trish answer those.
Okay, so these are questions that we hear often at this time of year. And when it comes to work study, I would suggest for all families to ask this question for all the universities that are still on your potential to attend list. Work study at the University of Pittsburgh is fantastic, and I'm a huge fan. The university has such vast resources and research and things like that, that any student can get a job on campus. You do not need to just have federal work study on your financial aid package. Any student can get a job. The job tends to be 10 to 15 hours a week, more or less around minimum wage, maybe slightly more. The schedule is based around your class schedule. This type of part-time job is not to interrupt your studies. I'm a fan of work study simply because it allows the student to meet adults on campus and potentially network for other things coming along the way. For those students who are STEM students and are interested in the sciences, there are many, many research positions and lab positions that you can take a look at. Then you get to know adults on campus that are other than your professors, make contacts. For example, the financial aid office has federal work study students, and I'm a big fan of these students. I would have to say that I would very happily create a letter of reference for them for a future job potential or something like that. So they have added me to their arsenal of things to do, things to have in their pocket for their future.
Thank you so much, Trish. So I have another one for you. Students want to know how to activate these loans that they're being offered. And also, uh, Sarah, we'll shoot to you with any answer on when do they start payment on these loans.
Okay. So the first thing you want to do is decide which school you want to attend and then commit. So the University of Pittsburgh's commitment date is May 1st. The way that you commit is to simply send your $300 tuition deposit to on that website, Commit to Pitt. Then you would want to decide whether you want to accept the federal loans or not. You will receive on your financial aid offer, you'll have instructions showing you where to go in your student center on how to accept those loans. So you would log into your Pitt account, you would go to that student center, and you could accept or decline the federal loans. I would say one piece, if you do need to take loans for your freshman year, especially, the federal loans offered directly to a student tend to be the loans with the best interest rates out there. This year, the interest rates are around 4.5% for those federal loans, and we tend to see interest rates are higher on bank loans. So if you do need to use loans for freshman year, you do want to accept those freshman loans from the Federal Department of Education first. And then, I'm sorry, you will also need to complete the paperwork with those loans. So once you accept the loans, you will need to go to a federal website, and all of that will be listed in instructions in your student center. And you will need to complete both a master promissory note and complete entrance loan counseling. The entrance loan counseling is a webinar. It's about 20 minutes long, just tells you what the loan is and what your responsibilities will be. The master promissory note is an electronic document that explains this is a loan, it needs to be repaid, it's from the US Department of Education, and that's something that you would sign off on. And then those loans would be ready and able to disperse for the academic year 10 days before each semester begins.
Thank you so much, Trish. So Sarah, again, with the tuition payment, like balance due notifications and maybe any payment plan options, you could address that.
So when it comes to making payments, a lot of times we make it easier by going through PitPay. There's still the options to send checks in and to meet at our office whenever we get back into the office, and you can submit a payment through their check. We prefer check or money order. When it comes to cash, it's a different story, but you can call our office if you have questions about that. Our phone number is 412-624-7520. As far as when you can make these payments, actually, as of today, we opened up through PitPay the payment plan options for summer 2020, the fall 2020, and spring 2021. The payment plan options allow students and their families for authorized users and students to set up one payment plan per student account. So they go in and they set up a budget calculator, and they can answer questions, say, about tuition. What program is the student in? How many credits are they taking? Are they full-time or are they part-time? Are they staying any housing? Are they using any meal plans? And then they go to the next page where it gives them an estimate based on numbers that we currently have for the 2019 to 2020 academic year, because we haven't gotten the official rates for the 2021 year yet. We'll get those probably towards the middle of July, and then we'll update it. But for now, you can at least plan based on the current year, and it'll equally disperse all of the estimates. So housing, tuition, meal plans together, and the mandatory fees as well, and put it into one number, and then split it between the amount of installments you can choose. For fall and spring, your options are anywhere from 3 monthly installments starting in August and ending in October, or you can go up to 6 months. That starts in on May 5th specifically, and then ends again in October, on October 5th. And it's an equal dispersed amount depending on how much you were estimated at. And then when we get the actual rates for the upcoming year for the payment plan, we will update it on probably around July 25th. That's the typical notion for each year. Then if you don't want to do a payment plan, because they are entirely optional, and the payments for them for right now, you can send checks into our office. We have actually all of the all the location information for you to send it listed on our website at payments.pitt.edu. And it lists for outside scholarships. Maybe you're getting some from your high school. Maybe you're getting some from your mom and dad's business, and they're wanting to sponsor you. All that information and more, especially for where you can send even personal checks, if it's maybe a grandpa or grandma is helping sponsor it, it's all on our website for payments.pitt.edu.
Thank you so much, Sarah. There's another question here for you. Students want to know what happens if we pay the deposit, the first payment, and then decide to defer, like for an emergent situation, and the student would decide to wait a year. What happens?
So when it comes to the tuition deposit, if the student has paid it and they've committed to Pitt and they're ready to go, to my knowledge, I know there's a year deferment where it can go towards the next year and we can put it towards that portion of it. But the best office to coordinate this with is actually the Office of Admissions, and especially their program. I recommend working with them, and if they have an advisor, especially talking with them and seeing what they recommend for the upcoming one, because the university is here to help. But the tuition deposit, we will put it on if you've accessed Pitt Pay. It's on the fall 2020 to 2021 semester to start with, as if you're at the main campus, it's $300 for the enrollment, and it sits there until it's ready to apply to what the charges it's going to go towards, so tuition and the enrollment fee.
Thank you. Trish, so I'm going to come back to you. A student would like to know if their package only included a small loan, no work study, and nothing else, can they reapply for more aid?
Thank you for that question. So this is a common question. What I would say in response is that this university tries to give their best financial aid offer from the beginning. Then this university will provide the most need-based aid as possible straight from the beginning. So more than likely, your financial aid offer is the best offer that can be posted for your family. If you have extenuating circumstances, you can certainly call the financial aid office off of a platform like this to see if anything else can be entertained. But at this point in that college decision process, you want to look at your financial aid offers, look at the quality of each program, determine your bottom line, have that kind of crazy kitchen table conversation with your family, maybe make it fun, get some pizza, get some soda, and sit down and look at the cost of your undergraduate career and know that yes, there is a small amount of federal loans that are offered on that financial aid offer. That $5,500 of federal loans is actually the capped maximum amount of federal loan that can be offered to an incoming freshman from a university that accepts federal aid eligibility guidelines. Now, back in the day when I went to college, I could take out a federal loan for all of my charges. I took it all out on a federal loan and paid it back later. That concept has changed. A student cannot take out a federal loan for everything that's needed. That student is capped at that $5,500 limit from the federal government. Then the next two options for loans would be for the family to decide whether the parent wants to take out a loan in the parent's name or whether the student wants to take out an additional loan in their name. So those are two different options, and there are definitely advantages and disadvantages to both of those options. So let's go through that. So if a family decided on a Parent Plus loan, which is a loan to a parent, it is from the federal government. Excuse me, it must be my basement air. Excuse me, as I sit in my basement. So far, no cats coming around near me, so that's good. But who knows? We still got a ways to go. We might see my family cats by the end of this. If a family chooses a Parent Plus loan, it is a loan in the parent's name from the federal government. This year, that interest rate was around 7% fixed, and it is in the parent's name. So the advantage of that loan is usually the interest rate. That interest rate is usually better than what we tend to see in the open banking industry. The disadvantage of a Parent Plus loan is that it is indeed the parent's loan. It's in the parent's social security number. It can never be legally transferred to the student. So while you are eating that pizza and drinking that soda at the kitchen table, these are topics and details that you need to discuss on whether this option is a viable option for your family. The other option would be, after taking the federal loans, the student could take out an additional loan in their name for themselves for their education. The fancy terminology for that in the financial aid office is a private education loan. This is a loan from the open banking industry. The advantage of these types of loans is that it is the student's loan, but the disadvantage is that the interest rate is usually higher than what we see from the Parent Plus loans. Because of a student's age and lack of credit history, they will probably need a cosigner, which could be the parent. However, when you are researching these types of loans, I would say to ask this question to these banks. Ask if the cosigner's name could be removed after 2 years of prompt repayment of the loan. So what does that mean? So all of these loans, whichever loan you decide, generally speaking, all of these loans will not be due for repayment until after a student finishes their degree or stops attending school. Okay. At that time, with a private education loan, the student would start paying back that loan on a monthly basis, and say they pay it back for 2 years straight, no problems, no worries, no past dues, anything like that. Some banks will allow the cosigner to be removed at that time. And then officially that loan is the student's, the cosigner's name is removed, and you can go from there. As a parent, that is definitely something that I would include on my list of questions to those banks.
Thank you so much for the wealth of that information. Before we go forward, I just want to welcome those who are just joining us. My name is Hannah Mcbain. I'm a financial aid counselor here at the University of Pittsburgh. I'm joined by Trish McCarthy, another financial aid counselor, and Sarah Denardis as well. She is in the payment center. So we are just so glad to chat with you today. We will provide our information. The financial aid number is 412-624-7488, or you can email us at finaid@pitt.edu if you have any questions that you would like some personal communication with. We can help you with that. And Sarah, if you could please again give them the information for Payment Center.
So the Student Payment Center, we're located at G9 Thackeray Hall. Our doors are open whenever we're in the office. I want to get back into there. And the phone number is 412-624-7520. And our email address is payments@pitt.edu. And all the information that we're mostly going to be covering today is actually going to be available online through our website at payments.pitt.edu.
Thanks so much. So Sarah, the next question I have for you is about Pitt Pay. Students and families would like to know, how does a student receive their Pitt Pay login information, and does the parent receive a separate login for Pitt Pay?
This is an excellent question. It's actually the first stepping stone into seeing all the financial obligations for what will be used for your entire academic career here at the university. The Pitt Pay portal, it's first and foremost, it's a portal for payments, for representing statements for all the charges, and when the financial aid is applied, it's going to be on there. any scholarships you receive or checks we receive. When we post it, you'll be able to see what we've done to the account. Students, they automatically get a Pitt Pay account. Every student has one. It's because the financial responsibility is typically on the student. They're coordinating with parents and everyone, and we understand that, which is why we have the feature of authorized users. So before you can get to the authorized user, you have to get your login information. And that's after the tuition deposit is paid. Soon after, the Information Technology Help Desk will actually send an email out to activate your Pitt Passport, which is at my.pitt.edu. And from there, this is it's kind of your step. It's actually a jump start into all of the applications for Pitt, such as Blackboard or coursework, or even your email for Outlook. This also gives you an opportunity to see your student center as well as Pitt Pay. And it's going to be an application on the right-hand side. You'll click it and it'll open it up a new page where you'll have you'll have to type in your student ID number as well as your date of birth just to verify your information. And the student ID number, it's typically the 7-digit number that you get, that it starts with either a 4 or 3 or anything lower than that. And it's also known as the applicant number, but without the A. So when you type it in, drop the A, just put the numbers in and you'll be in. So once you get in there, it's an account summary page. It'll say term balance, balance due, quick links. It'll have a lot of information right there. But fortunately, we have a nice blue bar at the top that just make sure you read through them. It's got information on the payment plans. It's got information on authorized users and how to set them up. And it's got quick links for you to go through. But once the student gets on there, the first thing I recommend, especially for parents and guardians who really want to be involved in the financial portion of this, set up yourself as an authorized user. This is separate. I know some people do it, say for the registrar. They go and they set up saying parents can see grades. For financial aid, they have their own authorized user portion that I'm sure Trish can go into in more detail than I would be able to. But the Student Payment Center, we do require parents to have their names associated with the student's account. And that allows us to know when the parents call in or when students call in, we know who we're talking to. From there, you can actually even get more notifications. So when the student clicks on set up authorized users, you'll actually get to put in the email address and the student's and the parent's name. So that way we know who we're talking to when you call or email. And that'll actually send an email out to the parent so they can set up their account and they'll have their own individual login. You'll find that most early on students will use the dual login, which is required for accessing my.pitt.edu. And parents will not have that feature when they're off in Oakland, they're off in Bradford or Greensburg, and they're not able to access the student's account because they can't do the dual login. This feature then with the authorized user allows you to log into yourself with your own email address and with your own password, and no dual login is needed. So you won't need the student to approve your access to seeing everything.
And along with that, I'm a huge fan of what Sarah is saying because all of financial aid information will go straight to the student, whether you want that to happen or not. All financial aid communication will go to that Pitt email account. I would suggest for you pizza and soda. Remember that moment over the dinner. I would suggest to ask your student to forward every financial aid email that they receive in their Pitt email account. Just forward them on to you. But if you sign up as an authorized user as a parent in Pitt Pay, it is the cheating way of seeing financial aid. So you will not be able to get into financial aid screens and things like that in the student's account. But if you go into Pitt Pay, you will see pending aid and aid that's dispersed and aid that's anticipated but has not yet dispersed to pay charges. So a huge way to have a smoother financial process your first year at the University of Pittsburgh is to sign up as an authorized user for the student.
Okay, and it actually looks like we might have lost Hannah for a moment.
And that's okay.
Yeah,
I can I can see some questions coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So Sarah, let me know as we jump back and forth. Just give me a shout out, and I can definitely share the spotlight, as we say.
Okay.
There are a few different questions coming in on income changing for families. So let's look at that situation. Right now, the FAFSA application for the 2020-2021 application aid year uses 2018 income information. So 2 years prior is the income that's on listed FAFSA applications at this time. There are moments in time where income changes during that 2 year time frame. If your income has significantly changed from the 2018 year, you are welcome to call the admissions office, or I'm sorry, to call the financial aid office and let us know of those changes. And you can speak to a financial aid counselor to see if those income changes would indeed affect financial aid. Sometimes they do not, even though the family themselves feels that change in income. Sometimes it does not affect need-based aid. There are some moments of opportunity where more present day yearly income is used than the 2018 income. I would suggest not to send me at this moment through YouTube. I would suggest not to send me that information over YouTube, but instead I would call the financial aid office. Again, that number is 412-624-7488 and option 2 for financial aid. Okay, so I see a question coming in. If my student lives off campus for her full freshman year, can she pay in-state tuition the following year? I love this question. This is definitely something that we get as a question throughout the year. The short answer to that is no. But what I would suggest that you do is search the phrase Pitt tuition eligibility. So if you open up a new web browser, search the phrase Pitt tuition eligibility, that will give all of the legal determination of what it means to be an in-state Pennsylvania resident to receive in-state tuition status, as well as a form connected to that information, as well as contact information for that office. Neither the payment center nor the financial aid office works directly with these questions. In short answer, I can say that the home domicile, the legal domicile of a student is where they go on break, which tends to be the parent's home. So if you live outside of Pennsylvania, then that would mean out of state tuition rates. If you move into the state of Pennsylvania, definitely read those guidelines to see where you can go from there. But in general, a student's home domicile is where they go on break, which is family's home.
And if I can add to that, for the contact information on that page for tuition eligibility for Pitt, there are specific tuition eligibility coordinators for each of the regional campuses. And each of them are separated into on that website, and it will allow you to at least contact the right person for who you need to go to. Because each campus, while we do abide by the same regulations and federal regulations, the way to handle that is different, and it has to be per the campus.
Thank you for that, Sarah.
Mm.
Okay, so I see a question coming in from, let's see. Looks like this might be from Ava. Based on the awards given to me for my first year, how will I know if I'm able to count on similar awards each year? So that's a great question. Keep in mind that financial aid is a cyclical event, meaning that every year you do the same thing again. So in the fall of your senior year of high school, you filed a FAFSA application. The FAFSA application opens October 1st of every year. So your family files a FAFSA application, receives a financial aid offer, shows both need-based aid and merit aid, and loans are offered. The student and the family will accept or decline the loans, go through the paperwork. They will be charged through Pitt Pay, and then the process will begin again. So on that FAFSA application, I think there are almost 90 questions on the application. The most heavily weighted questions on that FAFSA are parental income information, the number of people in the household, and the number of the people in the household who are attending college. Those three data points are heavily weighted in that need-based financial aid calculation. If you have need-based aid, to directly answer this question, if you have need-based aid, you will want to file the FAFSA application every year, and every year you will get a financial aid offer. If your family situation and income, number of people in the household tends to stay similar over the years, then your need-based financial aid offer will probably also stay similar over the years. If you have an older sibling that's graduating from college soon, that might indeed affect your need-based aid. So something to keep in mind. If you have a merit aid based on your financial aid offer, merit scholarships at the University of Pittsburgh require that a student maintain a 3.0 GPA at the end of every spring semester. So that is the main requirement for merit scholarships offered by the university. If a student is maintaining that GPA at the end of the spring semester, then that scholarship will be renewed for the next upcoming academic year for a total of 8 semesters or 4 years.
Okay, thank you so much for that answer. I see we have a question about the yellow ribbon. They would like if you could please further explain that.
Sure. So the yellow ribbon is a terminology used for universities who take pride in having veteran families and veteran students on campus. Our Veterans Office at the University of Pittsburgh is a great source of information. I apologize, I do not have their phone number directly with me, but if you search Pitt Veterans Office, you will find their contact information. For families who have active veterans as parents or as students, definitely look into that Pitt tuition eligibility concept that we talked about. Because of that in-state tuition status that can be offered to active veterans.
For
Thank
the
you so much.
contact information, for the Office of Veteran Services, make sure to contact veterans@pitt.edu, as well as their phone number at 412-624-3213.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Sarah. So just for those who have just joined us, we are live. This is our Admitted Student Day with the University of Pittsburgh, a YouTube live event. We have financial aid and the payment center here to answer your questions. And again, the financial aid number is 412-624-7488. And you can also reach out to us through email, through finaid@pitt.edu. And Sarah, again, if you could give us your payment center information.
Absolutely. The email for the Student Payment Center is payments@pitt.edu, and you can contact us at 412-624-7520. And actually, one of the best resources is our website at payments@pitt.edu.
Okay, so again, we're going to do our best to answer as many questions as possible. If there are any questions that we may not get to, you can feel free to reach out to us with that contact information. I have a question here. It says, how would a sibling heading to college a year after the 2020-2021 academic year impact their FAFSA?
Okay, so thank you for that. So I'll take that one. So again, when it comes to those FAFSA questions, the most heavily weighted questions are parental income information, the number of people in the household, the number of people in the household attending college. So that FAFSA application culminates in a number at the end, that EFC number. It's that expected family contribution number. Now, keep in mind that number is simply an index number. It is not a one-for-one out-of-pocket expense to pay for college. It is an index number that financial aid offices use to put on charts, to put that number on a federal need-based grant chart to say, does that student qualify for need-based aid from the federal government? Yes or no. Puts that index number onto a state chart. Does that student qualify for need-based aid from the state? Yes or no. From institutional aid from the university? Yes or no. When a younger sibling is added to the mix of college life and they are added to that FAFSA application, that EFC number changes drastically. That EFC number is in a general way reduced by 40%, 50%, something like that. So that might open up a family's need-based aid opportunity for that following academic year. Now, again, remember that that EFC number is an index number. So it's listed on charts. Even though you feel the pain of two students sitting at the kitchen table eating pizza and soda and talking about tuition costs with you, right? You feel that pain. However, it depends on that index number, on where it is on the chart to determine need-based financial aid. But yes, the more students you have in college at simultaneously at the same time, it will lower that EFC significantly.
Thank you for that great answer, Trish. So Sarah, I have a question about if someone were to choose a payment plan, can installments be paid directly from a 529 plan?
So when it comes to payment plans, they're all through Pitt Pay. And on Pitt Pay, there's no feature for a 529 payment to come in at. So the payment plan unfortunately cannot be used with a 529 plan. For the payments with 529s, they typically, and it all depends, it's state by state. So even there's PA TAP ones, you can do it a certain way, while say something in Michigan is going to come in completely different. Typically though, they send in a check either to the university, to our office at the Student Payment Center, or they send a check directly to the receiver. So that could be the home address for what they have listed with their 529 provider. That check can be used and sent to our office and have the student's ID number, as well as the semester it should go towards, and we will apply it within the business day that we receive it, and we'll post it to their Pitt Pay account. That is the only way to submit a 529 to our office, and you'll have to coordinate with with the various provider that you have to figure out how you're going to be able to send it over. But unfortunately, it can't go through a payment plan. The only options for payment plans on Pitt Pay are using a U.S. personal checking account, and that has no service fee, or a credit or debit card that does have a 2.75% service fee for that's issued by our vendor for Pitt Pay.
Thank you so much for providing that clarification on Pitt Pay and payment plans. We have a question about FIA. A student wants to know, when will a PA resident hear from FIA about state grants? Trish, would you?
Okay, so that's a good question. So FIA is the acronym, oh boy, you're putting me on the spot here, for I believe it is the Pennsylvania Higher Education Assistance Agency. Yes, I did it. FIA is the acronym for the state grant for the state of Pennsylvania. You will see on a University of Pittsburgh financial aid offer that the offer will actually say estimated Pennsylvania grant. That is just looking at the fact that you are from the Pennsylvania area. That EFC number tends to be around in that range frame where we understand you will probably be eligible for FIA. But when it comes to FIA, and maybe those FIA people are listening, I would like to say that FIA follows their rules, okay? They are rule following people. So make sure that you file your FAFSA application before May 1st, 2020, in order to have any ounce of eligibility for a Pennsylvania state grant. And then if FIA has any questions on your FAFSA application, they will contact you. They might contact you to confirm eligibility, confirm income information. That process for them is called validation. It's different than the verification process from the federal government. It's something that you want to go through. If you do commit to Pitt, you will see around the June timeframe, if you've handed in any additional paperwork that was requested from FIA, you'll see your financial aid offer will go from an estimated grant funding amount from FIA to an actual grant funding amount. So make sure that you have contacted FIA, your student has created a student ID account with FIA's website, and that you have provided any documentation that's needed for them. And then last but not least, if you do commit to Pitt, make sure that FIA knows that you will be attending the University of Pittsburgh so that they can notify Pitt of your FIA grant eligibility.
Thank you. And I think this will be the question that wraps up our YouTube Live. Are other Pitt scholarships and outside scholarships stacked onto a merit scholarship for Pitt? Trish.
Can you repeat that one more time? I'm sorry.
Are other Pitt scholarships as well as outside scholarships stacked onto a merit scholarship for Pitt? So are internal, external?
Okay. So it sounds like the question is, I have a merit scholarship from Pitt, and I'm also getting external scholarships from other sources. Can I have both? And the answer is yes, as long as you have room in your financial aid budget. So keep in mind that there is always a limit to how much financial aid a student can receive. So for an extreme example, you can't have enough loans, grants, and scholarships to pay for a house, right? You can only have enough loans, grants, and scholarships to pay for your direct costs to school, as well as some indirect costs like books and things like that. That cost of attendance number is specific towards each program. So keep in mind that a cost of attendance number may differ for an engineering student as opposed to a Dietrich School of Arts and Sciences student, et cetera. If your scholarship fits in that cost of attendance number and you are the proud recipient of another scholarship from an outside source, as long as you have room in your financial aid budget, we will make room for it to fit. And within the financial aid office, we will take out any aid that is not as pleasing to make better aid fit. So what does that mean? If you are nearing your cost of attendance, if you are nearing your cost of attendance budget for financial aid, then an outside scholarship comes in and you're notified about it. In order to make room for that good piece of aid, that scholarship to come in, the financial aid office will reduce a loan to make that scholarship fit. So yes, you can have both external and internal scholarships. If you have questions on how those things are going to impact aid and you want to take those personal details and call our financial aid office, we can go through your actual details over the phone without issue.
Thank you so much. So, I mean, we have a few more minutes. Is there anything else that Sarah or Trish would like to discuss before we wrap this up that maybe we haven't touched on?
What I would say as a parent and as an employee, I would say have a timeline when it comes to financial aid, because financial aid is indeed cyclical. So first and foremost, commit to a school by May 1st. We would love for it to be the University of Pittsburgh. After that, I would say your most immediate timeline next is that potential payment plan from the payment center. If you want the largest payment plan for the fall semester, you will need to sign up for that payment plan by the 4th of May. Okay. And as Sarah stated, their website is fantastic. I would absolutely use payments.pitt.edu as a great resource. From there, because I'm a mom, then I would say enjoy the rest of senior year. Okay. Go through those virtual parties, go through those virtual graduations, and God bless you all for all of that. And then during the month of June, I would go through all of the fine details. I would start applying for loans, accepting your loans, doing your electronic paperwork with the federal government if needed, applying for that Federal Plus parent loan or applying for an additional loan from a bank, signing up for payment plans, getting that summer job, all those kinds of things I would do in June. Now, can you do this in August? Yes, you can. Do we suggest it? Absolutely not, because our offices go really crazy as the summer goes on. So you will get us nice and fresh in June, and you will have time to correct mistakes if mistakes are made. If you didn't take out enough loan or you took out too much or things like that, you're calling us back. You have time to do that without stress being added. So my lasting remarks would be the timeline. Commit to Pitt by May 1st.
Yes.
Do a potential payment plan. Look at that before May 4th. Have fun, relax, and crunch out all that paperwork in June and get ready to come to Pitt in the fall.
Thank you so much, Trish and Sarah. You all have been very helpful, I'm sure. And that is all of our 45 minutes. It went by so quickly. It was such a joy to interact with you all. And we can't wait to see you here at Pitt. We have high hopes for you all, and take care.